on Nigerian days every weekday. And this morning I have Ademi Adelu. Good morning to you, sir.
Good morning, Dan.
It's the spirit of celebration.
Oh
Yes.
yes, since
It is the
yesterday
spirit of
to this
celebration.
morning, yeah.
And I want to say happy birthday to your wife. And I wish her long life and prosperity. I know you have like sweet words to say, but I'll let you keep those sweet words till the
Yeah.
end of the program. But
Thank
let
you.
us start here at Women Radio by celebrating her and telling her she means so much to us for releasing you every Monday and Thursdays for us.
Thank you very much.
That's a lot that she's doing for us, and we appreciate her.
Thank you.
All right, a lot is going on in the country. Some of the headlines, I'm not particularly happy with some. Some I want us to really dig deep into it to find lasting solutions to some of these things and engage in this conversation. But let's take a few of the headlines on the dailies this morning. The Punch has the headline: Recession, Nigeria Labour Congress tackles Niger State over 50% slash in salaries. Very sad headline there. 15 months border closure, manufacturers fault federal government, committee report ready for Buhari, and EFCC 6 Interpol support on Abdul Rashid Mayna's process and industry development Nigeria's limited officials arrest. All right. He also has the INEC Senate may confirm Professor Mohammed Yakubu next week. And also, Nigerian Medical Association begins indefinite strike in Imo. All right, huge investment in East-West Road, a waste without proper management, says Godswill Akpabio. And pharmacists tax federal government on local vaccines for COVID-19 orders. And also, Senate summon Isa Ali Pantami over use of communication devices by Boko Haram and kidnappers. And Federal Executive Council okays 39.7 billion naira for erosion control and road maintenance. Publishers lament international piracy, 6 federal government intervention. The This Day newspaper has the headline: Eyeing more revenues, federal government deploys treasury directors in NNPC orders. And Senate summoned minister over rising insecurity. And Senate raises the alarm over ocean surge in Ondo community. The This Day newspaper has this headline: Pressure mounts on government to reopen land borders. And Federal Executive Council okays 39.771 billion naira for road erosion projects. A Nigeria Export Process Zone Authority malls medical free zone. And embrace skill acquisition. Undergraduates are being urged. And Buhari's commission, Walter Smith Modular Refinery, hails Nigeria's Content Development and Monitoring Board. The pen pushing has the headline: Produce runaway accused facing money laundering charges or go to jail. Court tells Nigeria lawmakers. And Lagos Police Command arrests 4 robbery suspects in Lagos. These are the headlines on the dailies this morning. I'd like us to start off this morning with this particular one. I'm very unhappy with the headline, and unhappy that at a time like this is when such an headline, I had to like look at all the papers that had this report to be sure that, oh, it was affecting maybe government workers. But the decision by the Niger State government to slash the salaries of workers by 50% is causing ripple in the state as the Nigerian Labour Congress in the state threatens a shutdown with government. The state government, in a meeting held in the office of the head of service on Monday, told NSC officials and those of the Trade Union Congress that it could no longer afford to pay 100% salaries to workers with effect from the end of the month in November. The meeting, which was addressed by the State Accountant General Abdullahi Sadiu, had in attendance all the members of the State Executive Council as well as majority of the permanent secretaries. It was learned from a source close to the meeting that Saudi explained that the state had been recording a drastic decline in its income from the federation account and internally generated revenue. Sadiu had said that another reason for the decision of government was the series of deduction from source which has depleted the income of the state. It also learned that the AG informed the meeting that if the state paid 60% salaries to workers, it would still go into about 1.7 billion naira deficit, which is why the government planned to lash Nigeria. And actually, in terms of landmass, it's the largest state in the country. That is one of the major things. It was actually formed in 1976, estimated to be around 5 million. is what the population of the state is estimated to be around. The mineral resources attributed to this particular state, we have mineral resources like, where's that? Trying to be sure of. Okay, let me talk about the tourism. Now, Niger State is one of the richest in terms of tourism attraction. We know all of this have been affected by the pandemic. No tourists have not been able to go around places to really look at all of these things. They possess a lot of mineral resources in terms of gold, bale clay, silica, sand, marble, copper, iron, lead, columbite, limestone. The hydroelectric power plants in the country are all situated in Niger State. Now, the government of Niger State categorically coming out to say that, oh, they can no longer pay full salaries. And this is worrying because they just started paying, they actually are among the states that is paying the 30,000 naira minimum wage. What they automatically means is you are going to be devaluing these people's earning by 50%. The economy that, yes, at private entity, a lot of private companies slashed workers, but this is federal government. And I always have said this right from time that we need to vote in governors who are entrepreneurial minded, people who can multiply the resources of their state. This is sad to hear this from the Niger State government.
Well, it's unfortunate that it's coming at this time, knowing fully well what the suffering of the people of Niger State is. This is just not just Niger State, the whole world is the phase that we're all going through at the COVID-19 pandemic. But the governor, that Abubakar Sani Bello, needs to really understand that if there is need for him to slash this salary, then he should start from himself and all the people in the State House of Assembly. They should look into that first before you come down to the workers of that state. Having said that, what is the allocation? Do not have what to eat, and they are not happy with you. Not, I tell you, the production level will be terrible. So he should look into that first. That's the aspect he needed to look into. So instead of him saying he wants to call these people, they've suffered a lot.
NLC responded and saying that they are not going to accept the policy that has been put in place. NLC and the TUC have actually told the government that salary payment is the first line charge, and as such, whatever the government got, it should pay 100% salaries and source for funds for other projects and programs. This was learned on Tuesday at the summit of the Emergency Congress, where the issue was put before the delegates. I'm really concerned about the people right now, because for the governor to have come out to say this, and it means that after this November, they would not earn the proper salary, and there's not even a time limit to how long
it's going to
they're
take
going to be paying half salary.
And you see, there is one thing that we need to look into also. There are stakeholders in Niger State, other statements that are in Niger State. At least, if we look at it very well, we have two ex-presidents of Nigeria that are from that state. I'm talking in person of Babangida, and Abubakar. The two of them, with this situation on ground, let them come up, let them see what they can do to assist the state government so that the salary of the workers can be paid without any need for him to cut the salary. These people should come up. The well-meaningful people of Niger State, the big ones that has this money, they should come to the rescue. What if the governor wants to cut the salary? I want the governor to please go and learn from what Tinubu did when the allocation that was to come to Lagos State was even suspended by Obasanjo then. And yet the man was able to pay the salary
for the creation of more states.
For more local government.
Yes, and more local government.
He was able to pay the salary for those 3 years. So he should outsource instead of him trying to cut their salary.
Okay.
Let him think out of the box, how he can make more money and how he can meet the needs of these people instead of cutting their salary.
All right, let's hope that the governor, the Labour, is going to be able to pull through on this one, because we haven't seen the effectiveness of Labour in the most recent times. And carrying Labour along is something that Labour needs to be able to exhibit its power. I said it the other day that Labour still has what it takes to be able to pull that strength that we think they have.
I told you, I said yes, they do. They have the workers behind them. That's the tool they can use.
Okay. All right, let's move forward on the headlines this morning. We talk about border closure and pressure mounts on government to reopen land borders. This is on the This Day newspaper this morning. It pushed for the reopening of the land borders closed since August 20th of 2019 grew louder on Wednesday as the country sank into its worst economic crisis in 3 decades as a result of the prolonged border closure. It said companies, a large numbers of individual sector players and individuals doing legitimate businesses across the borders have been crippled. The LCCI Director General, Dr. Muda Yusuf, said following the closure of the borders, jobs have been lost, prices have skyrocketed, legitimate export to the sub-region have been halted, intermediate products for some manufacturers have been cut off, and some multinational companies have been delined from their sister companies in sub-regions. He also says that the economy of border communities have been steel product, kitchen items, grains, ginger, onions, among others. Many re-export to the region. These are sources of livelihood to Nigerians doing legitimate business. Do you think now we have officially put down all the paperwork with the African Continental Free Trade Agreement, and our borders are still closed? The president has not made a very saying businesses are suffering, right? Well, we understand this, but I'm also looking at what we were able to achieve. Saw the high improvement in the rice production in Nigeria because of border closure, right? And now that there is a huge clamor for the opening of the borders, we have officially completed the paperwork with the African Continental Free Trade Agreement. What other things do we need to consider before reopening the border?
Daniel, you only look at a particular sector. You talk about the rice production, the increment in rice. They're good, but don't forget being sold to the neighboring countries.
Yes,
and that has had a lot of effect on the production in Nigeria, because the market there is not receiving the goods. So that means that we are not able to produce optimally like we ought to normally.
Okay.
And then that's at the same time we are talking about the foreign exchange from those places. So that actually will have a great impact, and not just the industries alone that are suffering. The people we are also suffering, because most of the company have downsized.
Yes,
that you should put into cognizance.
Okay.
They've downsized, so many people have lost their jobs here and there.
Okay.
And but the best thing that the government, look, I've always been saying it, before you implement any of your policies, you must look at it holistically, bring in good hands. Like in this aspect we're talking about,
yes,
we need technocrats.
Okay.
We need economists. We need those people that deals with forex. They need to sit down, look at it holistically, see the advantages, and see what side effect is going to come the time you implement a particular policy, especially when it has to do with international trade.
Okay.
Do you understand?
Yes.
Now, looking at it very well now, the best the government could do, yes, we have achieved a lot in terms of rice production.
Okay.
But what about others?
Another concern that has been raised is the issue of the importance of security to the border management process. We have understood over time the porosity of the Nigerian borders and how a lot of infiltrated goods and items are coming into the country.
Excuse me. Don't you have border patrols?
Okay.
Don't you have the immigration, the customs, all those that man those areas?
Okay.
We have them. This is their responsibility. They should live up to it. The federal government should charge them to that. That is the essence of their being employed.
Okay.
That's the essence of them being at the border. You see, we have been saying because of the porosity of the border.
Okay.
Look, if you make everything easy, if the tariff
Yeah.
that is being paid is not killing.
Okay.
I tell you, those people you are talking about that smuggle goods into Nigeria, they want to pay tariff, but it's so the tariff expensive, the conditions are stringent.
Mm.
So these are the problem we're having. Our government should look at it. Look, is this thing we're talking about is give and take.
Okay.
We are exporting to the other countries, and you know what we should do is to regulate the flow of what comes into our country,
Okay.
especially when it has to do what we can produce or what is being not even can produce, what we are producing. Because when you say what we can produce, that means it may not be on production at the moment,
Yes.
but what is being produced in Nigeria. These are the things we should look into, not those things that we cannot produce and people are importing to Nigeria, and you have to stop it.
Okay.
I've always been saying it. If you want to do anything, make sure whatever you are going to do, you have it on ground before you say, okay, I'm not going to allow this thing in. It's very, very important. Our government needs to look at the economic situation of the country and help the people. How is it going to help the people? You know, there is no need for Nigerians. I've told you, what we have in Nigeria is so enormous to make us the greatest country in the world.
All right.
Like you just said now,
yes,
Niger State alone, see the numbers of natural mineral resources that
Yes.
you can't tell there.
You know, even
That's
in,
one state in Nigeria.
in 2019, April to be precise, I think it was discovered in March, the high quality of platinum mineral in Niger State.
Yes.
And apparently in April, about 15 billion naira was drawn from the Natural Resources Development Fund to the ministry as intervention fund to focus on the exploration, which is the heart of mining. Until this very moment, we haven't heard anything about it.
That's the problem. We say it, but action don't back it up. That's our problem.
All right, let's take some more headlines here this morning. And there are conversations around restructuring. It's on the Punch newspaper this morning, and the Northern Elders Forum on Wednesday distanced itself from the comments credited to the Governor Nasir El-Rufai of Kaduna State that selfish Northern leaders were opposing the restructuring of Nigeria. The organization said the governor could not have been referring to its leadership under Professor Ango Abdullahi because it has campaigned restructuring more openly and more vigorously than any group or interest in the country. The NEF Director, Publicity and Advocacy, Dr. Hakeem Baba Ahmed, in an interview with The Punch, El-Rufai had during a session on the 26th National Economic Summit said Northerners kicking against call for restructuring of Nigeria. We're not speaking for the North. But Baba Ahmed said the governor of Kaduna State could not have been referring to the Northern Elders Forum under the leadership of Professor Ango Abdullahi. Our forum has campaigned for restructuring more openly and more vigorously than any other group in the country. I want to read in between the lines of this story and say that, okay, there is openly from this headline, there is a divide among this social cultural groups and also the existing administrations at various state levels in these states, and this is something that should be worrying, where the governor of Kaduna State can come publicly and say, oh, we have some northern groups who are opposing the restructuring of Nigeria. We have constantly called for the restructuring of Nigeria, and from this headline you can see that trying to justify or trying to make their stand clear or distance themselves. But we're looking at unity now in Hall. If we're looking at restructuring of the country, how do you expect us to start from?
You see, talking about the statement that has been credited to El-Rufai and the contrary speech being made by the Northern Forum, you will understand if they said over the time they have been talking about restructuring.
Okay.
Yeah, not all of them. We should understand that not all the northern people have been, especially the so-called governors and at least the well meaningful ones among them have been talking about the restructuring, but very few and selected ones among them. Now, if Governor El-Rufai is talking about this restructuring, I don't see any reason why all of them should come up and say, okay, we are against it, that because we are for it. Okay, let's everybody come on board. Let them put their cards together. Let them speak in one voice.
What is the major what is fundamentally not right that is allowing the Northerners not to come out with one voice? Because the fight against insecurity has just been targeted at this region, and there's the conversation around the divide, but we have not been 100% able to identify what is fundamentally wrong in collectively coming together to fight this battle.
Like we have always been saying, the elite, they want to remain and they want to hold on to power to continue to rule their people. That's why the former emir of Sanusi was always at loggerhead with them over there. And I think from that, El-Rufai now is now of that school of thought, because you know that they're Halis. So it's of that school of thought that, you see, they need to educate the northern people. They need to educate the masses. So, and for them to educate them, there must be a restructure. They must do away with the old. They must cling to the new. What is the new order? What is the new order? The new order today is that Nigeria needs to move forward.
Yes.
And how can Nigeria move forward? Restructuring. What is restructuring? Is putting those things that ought to be in the right place in the right place. That's what we are talking about. The northern, let the masses, let the children in the north, let the girls in the north, let them go to school. Prioritize education for them. Let that resources that is being like we have in Niger State.
Yes.
If Niger State could have certain level of control over those
resources.
Do you understand this salary cut you're talking about will not be in place? The state.
Let me get your opinion. Are you open to the conversation of the partial control of mineral and natural resources by state government?
Yeah, to some extent.
Okay.
To some extent. Why? You see, looking at it, because everything is on federal government. Federal government has not been able to really look into it. You see that the concentration of the federal government of Nigeria over the years has been on oil.
Yes.
But when we go back to the early 60s, when it was regional, you know that all the resources in each region were being used to develop the regions. Especially when you look at the Western region, then under the leadership of Chief Obafemi, late Chief Obafemi Awolowo. You know that it did so much, so marvelous in the Western region. Why? Due to that, especially, and rubber, other things that was being seen as resources in the Western region. And so in the north, we have the Granite Pyramid then.
Yes.
In the east, we have the coal.
Yes.
So all those things were being used to develop these regions. That's the same thing we are asking for now. Let every state, to some level, let them have the control over these resources so that these states can develop.
All right, thank you. 070-317-56537, 070-317-56537 is the number to send us a text or a WhatsApp message this morning. You can also tweet at us at WFM917 to be part of this conversation, at WFM917 on Twitter to be part of this conversation. You can drop a comment on Facebook and YouTube at WFM917. We're streaming live right now. All right, and now let's talk security. Senate summons Pantami over the use of communication devices by Boko Haram kidnappers. And this is coming on the backdrop of a point of order by Emmanuel Pewachi of PDP Taraba South, who expressed concerns that bandit terrorists and kidnappers were using mobile phones to negotiate for ransoms and getting away with it. The decision was reached in a resolution which followed the consideration of a motion in a spate of growing insecurity in Nigeria. Boachi raising under the order of 42 and 52 of the Senate rule, noted that the rate of insecurity in Nigeria was not only increasing astronomically, but has reached a melting point. According to the lawmaker, the challenge has manifested in kidnapping, banditry, armed robbery, assassination, and other criminal activities in the state. The Association of Nasarawa State APC chair and other high-profile cases are still fresh in our memories. A Chinese national was recently abducted in my community. His whereabouts is still unknown. This was the lament of the PDP Taraba State representative at the Senate level, who was speaking, he further expressed worries that the growing suspicion of the complexity of officials of the state, saddled with the responsibility of protecting lives and properties of the citizens, but compromised in the process. Senate is concerned that the confidence between the protection and the protector is being increasingly eroded, resulting to the breakdown of laws and orders, as demonstrated in the NSAS protest, which was subsequently hijacked by miscreants. All right, now I really appreciate the senator who is raising this awareness. One of the things I've constantly spoken about is the problem with the insecurity that I have noticed is we have a major problem with information gathering and information sharing. The major problem. The intelligence team of the country, I do not think they have the total capacity to be able to handle situation on various grounds. One, how would bandits come into a community, raid a community for hours before the military would get there or before security forces would have access to this place? That is on one angle. How would bandits be having conversations over the telephone? I have watched a movie or a thing we are doing is being recorded by our mobile phones unconsciously, right? And there is a protection for there was a policy that was put out one time. I've not heard much of it during the Trump administration, which is supposed to protect humans from the fact that the government has access to our data without our permission, right? But bandits, kidnappers have been able to perpetrate, carry out phone calls, carry out transactions over time, and nothing has been done. And we have a minister who is paid with taxpayers' money, whose responsibility, a mandate, is the Minister for Communications and Digital Economy, has not been able to find lasting solution to how we can improve the intelligence to get access to these things. I watched a documentary on World War II and looked at what Germany was doing with regards to how they were communicating when there was during the World War II, and Russia, looking at the level of communication devices that were being used to infiltrate information to war. This is a modern day, and there is nothing stopping us from winning this war.
Daniel, this is one of the most sensitive issues that is befalling Nigeria, especially when it comes to Boko Haram issue. Talking about information gathering, intelligence, I tell you, they have it. That's the honest truth. Our intelligence personnel are up to the task. The only problem there is that are the people, the government in the center, ready to handle that situation? They're not. Some people are using it as a source of income. That's a fat cow. That's where they make money from. You read in budget that about 380 billion is being on budget. So some people are making money out of it. That's what I want to believe. When it comes to intelligence, don't forget that there were times that you said that they had that as revenue information that the Boko Haram or the Hasna are going to strike, and nothing will be done. And nothing will be done about it until they strike down. That's when the area does now start looking for what is not lost. Do you understand? Not that they have it. The intelligence reports is always looking for what is not lost. Do you understand? Not that they have it. The intelligence reports is always coming in every day. They know it. And if they said, okay, they escape on bike, does it mean we don't have dispatch riders in the Nigerian Army, in the police, who could also follow them on bike? If you are talking about the terrain of the place, are you talking about we don't have those armored vehicles? What's the essence of you don't forget that in 1990, the Iraq War,
okay,
that's the Gulf War in Iraq then.
Yes.
The all-mat Jeep that we all were using in Nigeria at the point, that's one of the reasons why they created that vehicle.
Yes.
So that it can go through that terrain. Let the Nigeria, let the federal government of Nigeria provide this apparatus for these men. And you see, they should be holistic about it.
Okay.
They should see it as, okay, they don't want to conquer it. If they want to conquer it, it doesn't take them anything. The present president of Nigeria, Muhammadu Buhari, when he was the head of state of the Federal Republic of Nigeria between 1983 and 85, there was Maitesini case. This man ran them over in just few days. Not that they cannot do it. This is the same government that went to Liberia, when the case of Liberia, the war in Liberia was on.
Yes.
You need to see how they took over Liberia within a short period of time. We can do it. When our soldiers go outside for peacekeeping, they always talk about them as one of the best in the world. Not that they are not, they are. But it's in the hands of the government. Do they really want to conquer that war? That's the question.
That should be the question. All right. I have my other questions I'd like to put up, but I'd like us to read messages here. 25 minutes to 9. This is still the newspaper review. Do well to send us a text or a WhatsApp message on 070-317-56537 to be part of this conversation. You can also listen in Itoki says, if Lai Mohammed and the government are sincere, why are they engaging UK government to avert sanctions? According to the African Probe, a clear conscience, fear no accusations. All right. That's Anderson in Itoki. Bro Chris in Magboro says, Mr. Lai Mohammed should know that one day he would leave that seat and the seat leave him. Likewise, the governor of Niger State who cuts a worker's salary. How can a mature man like them tell lies and choose doing bad? They should know that God is watching them, including the president. All right, Bro Chris in Magboro. All right, Bright in Isheri says, me asks, where are the educated people of the West and the South? South that the North will be playing on the intelligence of the other parts of the country by using our hard-earned educated people of the West and the South. South that the North will be playing on the intelligence of the other parts of the country by using our hard-earned God-given wealth to be developing Niger Republic. Or is there an hidden agenda again? Why has the Minister of Information not been arrested for the speech telling Nigerians that the president was sick and he could no longer speak his own dialect? That is hard speech from Bright. That is hard speech. Okay, this is coming in from Bright in Isheri. All right, let's take this one. Tony says, the country must be restructured now so that the country can make positive progress. Otherwise, there may not be anything left to be called Nigeria in the nearest future. This is coming in from Tony. All right, everybody clamoring for restructuring. All right, let's take some more text messages. 070-317-56537. Gabi in Ojo says, Nigeria should not close her borders because Nigeria is like Dubai to West Africa. We are losing a lot of dollars. All right. Of dollars. All right. That is Gabi sending us that message. This is coming in from, your name is Excel in Ogun State. All right, Excel. It says cutting workers' salary shouldn't be the option to the Niger State government. Instead, let the governor look into more ways they will generate more income to the state. Leave or not close one side and leave the other side. There should be no preferential treatment to one region of the country. All right, that's coming in from Excel this morning. Let's take some more messages. Engineer Sojibade just sending us a message. It is rather unfortunate and sad that despite enormous natural resources available to Niger State government, the only thing the government do is to cut the salaries of workers. That is not even enough. Too bad. And if truly the governor actually care and love his people and state, what I expect him to do is to first cut his own salary, security vote, cut House Assembly members' aid salaries, and cut other wastage. Thereafter, he puts Senja Mutiu says, COVID funds should not be released to the government, but given directly to the concerned police personnel and youth, as there is tendency for government diverting the funds to other things or hoarding them as they did with the case of materials. Nigerians should start hearing local chicken instead of buying fertilized fed chickens for 10,000 naira until we start cherishing our own. All right, we may not grow. Rosenja Mutiu in Alakbere. All right, let's take one more and we'll go back into the dailies. Mofe Steven says, It is so sad that we keep moving backward as a nation. I hope the recruitment exercise currently in the news by the army in the north is not true. If it is, then we are in trouble as a nation. How can there be an end to insurgency? We need urgent restructuring. Mofe Steven in the cartoon. While I was reading Mofe Steven's message, and I want you to just quickly think about that while I continue reading messages. How many years do we need for us to begin to reap the fruit of restructuring if we start now? But let me keep reading messages while I allow you to reminisce on that one. All right. Let's take, I think we have a text message. We have two text messages. 070-317-56537. 070-317-56537. I have previously asked Nigerian rulers to, at all levels, to take a trip to the US and take crash programs on how federalism works. Tony from sending us that message in this morning. All right, P. Dasa in Ogun State says the North in particular maintains that Nigeria is individual and at the same time creating division between the North and the rest of Nigeria. They want SARS. When the rest of Nigerians are demanding the end of SARS. Now they want compensations for bandits and Boko Haram attack because a senator raised the issue of compensation for Southern state, forgetting that they created bandits and Boko Haram to meet their political needs. But all right, this is coming in from Pidasa in Ogun State. All right, let me come back to that question. We have that question. We have clamored for restructuring for a long time. Let's come with an assumption that the president wakes up and said, this is the restructuring plan and we start today. How many years do we need? The president has 3 years to leave the office.
Now we talk about when exactly are we going to start to reap the reward of restructure. It's immediate. You know why I said it's immediate? Because by the time you put a round peg in the right hole, that's the first step. First reward. Are you with me?
Okay.
That's the first reward. By the time you put the round peg
in the round
hole, that's an immediate result. Looking at all those things we are talking about even the resource control and all this stuff, and a particular state taking care of their needs. You will see that firstly, there will be increase in the employment,
okay,
which is one of the immediate things that will come forth with it, because job creation will be there.
Okay,
job creation and other things like when you create local government.
Yes,
that's another aspect. These are the things that we are looking into. Like, okay, let's take a cue. Let's use Lagos State as a case study. Lagos State is a big state with a population, the highest in Nigeria,
20 million.
Whether we like it or not, is the highest populated state in Nigeria. Now, if you have all the local government working optimally with the resources at their disposal, enough for their local government, you know that the local government will be able to develop their domain.
Okay.
And with that, the welfare of the people will be high. The standard of living of the people in that domain will be very high. So these are the reasons we're saying we want restructuring, so that the wealth of that particular area can be used to develop that area, so that the people of that area can enjoy it. And not that only, it's going to bring in more resources even from overseas.
Okay.
Because like we had then, when it was 3 regions, you know that Western region had their representative abroad, the Northern region had their representative, the Eastern region had their representative abroad, outside the federal government. So they will be able to liaise and be able to bring in what they feel is right and good for their people.
Okay.
So with that, the level of development will be high, and there will be competition. That one thing you should know. Because I wouldn't want, Lagos State will not want to be backward when Oyo State is doing something. Do you understand?
Okay.
So there will be competition. The spirit of competition will be in. And with that, everybody will be on their toes to make sure that their state is high. The stake will be high. And everybody will want to meet up. And with that, you see, when talk about restructuring, it's the dividend, like they always say, I don't believe in that word dividend, because it is our right, our benefit, that they end up telling us dividend. What do you mean by dividend? Nigeria that is in Nigeria
Okay.
is meant for Nigerians.
Yes.
So it shouldn't be dividend. Is that right?
It's all right. All right. Let's take some more messages before we go back into the dailies. It's a 8:45 on Women Radio 91.7. This is the newspaper review. I have radio analyst Adeyemi Adeolu with me this morning on the newspaper review. Bright in the Sherry says, if insurgency lasts more than 24 hours, then a government official has a hand in it. The words of late General Sani Abacha. This is coming from Bright in the Sherry. Sending us that message there. All right, let's take one more WhatsApp message. Engineer Wale Soji Badijo says, so many years I once said, if terrorists enter any country, they cannot be flushed out again. But then some people called for my head. Now it is the reality. We must learn to live with winning the war against Boko Haram is not a newspaper jingle or advert, but a serious matter that needs serious action. I mean, serious military action. And if corruption is tackled headlong, now we may win the war. God bless Nigeria. All right, Engineer Soji Badijo. Mr. Wale in Barua says, if the closed border is favorable to our farmers, then let it be closed. I am already enjoying our local rice. Well, there's a lot more than our farmers who are benefiting from who are being affected. The manufacturers, yes.
And we should not forget that the produce from the farm also needs to go through manufacturing.
Yes.
And the tools for the manufacturing are also have to be imported into the country. And the end products of the manufacturing has to go out for export
to bring in income.
To bring in income into the country. So,
all right. Let's take this headline here on the dailies this morning and talking about car COVID now to support police with 100 billion naira to rebuild 44 stations. The coalition against COVID-19, which is car COVID, has committed to providing over 100 billion naira to procure equipment and gadgets for the Nigerian police force over the next 2 years. Car COVID is a coalition formed by the Central Bank of Nigeria in collaboration with the Bankers Committee and private sector led by Aliko Dangote's Foundation and Axis Bank. The group also resolved to fully rebuild the 44 police stations that were damaged during the EndSARS protest that took place in several parts of the country last month. The CBN governor, Godwin Emefiele, was speaking in the company of President Dangote, Dangote Group's Alhaji Aliko Dangote, and a group of other people here have been mentioned. But let's look at this. How do we ensure? Look at what happened with the palliatives, which is a very good pointer. And one of the things I didn't get to hear them address is what they did not address what happened with the palliatives, the looting of palliatives from warehouses. And that is something that I'm not confident with this money being, unless if this project, like they said, you're looking at repairing these stations. This can be done without government intervention. All they need is government's approval to rebuild these 44 police stations that were burnt down. But with the provision of arms and ammunition to the Nigerian police, that definitely has to go through the government, which we'll find out what is the steps being done with regards to proper monitoring of these funds.
Well, we'll talk about the money to be earmarked for the reconstruction of those stations that were, or let me say, the government facilities that were being burnt down.
Okay.
It is an easy thing to do. The money not necessary to get to the government hands. All they need is permission from the government that, okay, they want to construct these numbers of facilities,
okay,
put them back in place, and they will contract it out to the contractors. There are contractors in Nigeria.
Okay.
We have Julius Berger, we have the Kapan, the Battle, even the local ones.
Yes, and I think something like that should even be, the focus should be looked into local contractors, because it's just a building.
And majorly, we should not be shy away from it. Most of these stations were being constructed from the onset by local contractors. And
yes,
even you see the people in the particular area donating to the police station.
I think one of the police stations during the protest was when the protest got hijacked. Some of the vehicles were donated by the community.
The community.
Yes.
So that one has always been in place. All they need to do is to get the contractors, give the contractors the mobilization fee, let them start the work. That money shouldn't go to them because of, like we said, what we saw with the palliative. No, we don't want it to happen. And with that, there will be accountability. There will be transparency.
Yes.
Because we don't want the situation whereby you build a station with maybe 200 million. The next thing we are going to hear is about the building about $1 billion. No, we don't want that. We want so that this money will be used for those things that they needed to be used for. That is one aspect.
Okay.
But talking about the arms,
Mm.
there are contractors. Even Nigerian government has contractors
That makes supply of ammunition.
brings supplies of the ammunition. All they need to do is sit down at the round table. Okay, these are the kind of arms they need. Then let the
Also
contractor
protective
and
gadgets,
yes,
bulletproofs, body
yes,
cams,
let
cameras.
the contractor, the government body, and the donor.
Mm.
Let them sit together and haven't sit together. Let them come to an agreement. Okay, this is the numbers of the arms we want. Okay, the contractor, the donors paid directly to the contractors.
Mm.
And by the time the consignment is coming in back, they will be there too to receive the catchment of those consignments, of those arms. So with that, you will see that everything will be done properly. You see, our problem is that we don't just want to do the things in the right way. That's why we're having all this problem. If we want to do it the right way, we'll get results.
All right. I'm not going to just take one more headline, and it's with regards to what happened in Bayelsa State yesterday, where barely some weeks after youths across the country took to the street to protest against police brutality, another bizarre show of brutality had triggered unrest in Yenagoa, a metropolis capital of Bayelsa State, when some policemen opened fire at a crowded market, leaving 4 women critically injured on Tuesday evening. Eyewitness said the policemen came in a white Hilux SUV. The plate number mentioned here also opened fire on the market women, inflicting life-threatening injuries on a 17-year-old trader, 3 others for alleged causing traffic that delayed their van from passing through the popular Tombia market. The Tombia roundabout is home to the busiest market and motor park, and an eyewitness told The Guardian that the policemen numbered 6 started shooting into the air for traders and pedestrians to leave the roadside and make way for their vehicles to pass.
You see, it's unfortunate that we are not learning from history. And this history we're talking about is just recent one. It's an event that took place not quite a month ago.
Yes.
And coming again, exhibiting the same act that people have been talking about, denouncing, criticizing, that people don't want it to happen again. And that's exactly what they are doing again. You see, what they should do, this time around, we the masses, the populace, the people of Nigeria, we're not going to take laws into our hands.
Yes.
But we're now looking at the authority, the police authority and the federal government and the Minister for Justice to see what they are going to do. They must not shield these erring officers. They must bring them to book. They must use them to serve as deterrent to others. They must be the scapegoats, because now this is the problem we're having on ground, and this actually cost Nigeria a lot. We're talking about the restructuring, buying of this here and there, giving money to the police. They want the officers that lost their family. We want to build the police stations, all the facilities that were destroyed. We saw even private properties that were destroyed in the course of it. And the agitation is still the same thing: police brutality. So it's now for the government to tackle, to hold the bull by the horn, by bringing those hearing officers to book.
All right, we'll take 1 or 2 messages and we'll call it a wrap this morning, and prepare for your speech, sir. All right, Kakovic should rebuild the police station by themselves, because they would collect the money and do not. This is Gabi in Ojo. For someone like El Rufai, calling for restructuring now means something is missing. He either be saying it for selfish reason or is the heat of the polity. If I may ask, has he just woken up now that Nigeria needs restructuring? To me, politicians are just playing lip service with restructuring, and I doubt if anything may come out from it. Next incoming government in 2023 may try it, but I doubt it. All right, Elder Engineer Soji Badejo in Ikpaja. This is where we stop this morning, and today is your wife's birthday. It's a special day for you. I think it's technically your birthday too, in the same vein. And it's technically your birthday. So what would be your words to your wife this morning?
Well, thank you, Daniel, for this great opportunity. Thank you, Women Radio. I just want to say a very big thank you to my wonderful, my love, my special heart, the woman who took me for who I am. because I know that not all women can take me for who I am, for my kind of personality. But I want to say thank you to you, my lovely wife, the mother of my kids, Iloyinka Adeyemi. If I have to marry again, I want to marry you. You are a blessed woman. I love you.
You're making marriage hungry me.
You need to.
Happy birthday to you, ma. And we say from Women Radio 91.7, we wish you a happy birthday. On the other side of 9 o'clock is going to be the big question. At 9 will be the news at 9. And after the news at 9 will be the big question. We still continue on day 2 of the 16 days of activism on Stand Against Gender-Based Violence. We're raising the awareness for the next 16 days. And please do all to begin to have these conversations in your circle, among your friends. We must raise this awareness more and more often. COVID-19 has exposed the whole lot, and we just want to keep raising this awareness on the radio. Thank you so much, Adeyemi Adeolu, for joining us on the radio this morning.
My pleasure.
All right, this is where we call it the wrap. My name is Daniel Adaja. Good morning.
We are WFM 91.7, the voice of women, using radio as a tool for women development. We condemn the abuse of women, girls, and children in any shape or form. WFM 91.7, the voice of women.